On this week's episode of The Grid, we're joined today by travel photographer Clifford Pickett, who's down here doing a Kelby 1 class. And we're going to talk about, do we really know what it takes to make a great photo? And it all starts right now.
The Grid is brought to you by Tamron. Check out their 28 to 75 millimeter f2.8 lens. It's for Sony full frame mirrorless. It's awesome. Go to tamron-usa.com.
And ProPhoto, the light shaping company. Check out the ProPhoto B1X, powered all the right places. Go to prophoto.com/US.
And Platypod, the tripod alternative that is changing the world. Everybody has a Platypod. You should too. Go to platypod.com.
Well, hey, Grid Nation, how's it going? We're one man short here. We got Scott's out on a seminar. So he's out in San Francisco today. But we are joined by Clifford Pickett here. Hey, Clifford, how's it going?
Pretty good.
Or Cliff, I should say, right?
Cliff works too.
Yeah, Cliff works too. So you are down here shooting a Kelby 1 class, right?
I am, yes.
So what class are you shooting?
We were doing a Lightroom Mobile Ultimate Workflow course, which is, it just takes you through, I spent years developing this workflow that is the absolute simplest workflow possible, like a one-click automation. But then just recently with Adobe's Creative Cloud, we can do this whole thing on the road, even without a laptop, using just an iPad, using just your iPhone. And so that was a big part of the course too, which is showing people not just on your desktop, but you can just go pretty much anywhere. And you could be in China and you can have your files, your original resolution, raw files, 60 megapixels, all of it, backed up to your computer and your desktop at home, as long as you have a Wi-Fi signal. So it's just, it doesn't have to be a complicated thing anymore. You could just, focus on what you love doing, which is going out and shooting.
Cool. Yeah, and a big news this week, obviously, it's Adobe Max week. So that's when the announcements come from Adobe. And we finally have Photoshop for the iPad. Yep. Finally got that. But over on Lightroom Killer Tips here, Scott did a whole recap. Actually, Rob Sylvan did the recap. But on Scott's blog, Rob Sylvan did the recap of all the November updates. So over here on the blog, if you look there, you can see he's got all the breakdown, all the Lightroom Classic. Maybe it might come up on the screen for you guys to see. I'm not sure. We'll see. Oh, there it is. So there's the Lightroom Classic updates. And then these are all the list of the updates. And if you go over to lightroomkillertips.com, they break down all the new updates for Lightroom. I would say that, the updates are good. You know, there's some good stuff there. Not earth-shattering, but good. I think Photoshop for the iPad is a good 1.0 version.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, I would have struggles working on my iPad only having the Gaussian blur filter and not having a single other filter in the world. In Photoshop, that might be a little hard, including the camera raw filter.
Well, it has to start somewhere.
It has to start somewhere.
I mean, think about the first version of Photoshop.
It definitely probably feels like that. Like we're going to a 1.0 kind of thing. But it will constantly improve. So, that's cool, right?
There's potential there. There's potential
definitely,
there for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, with the Apple Pencil and a touch interface, it's going to be the beginning of something, I think, really special.
So we're kind of transitioning into our topic today. So our topic, I want to get to the topic, then I want to go into some other stuff, but I want to really ask you guys some questions. The first question I really want to ask the audience, this is really going to take some audience participation here, and that is, what do you all think makes a great photo? So our question today was, do we really know what makes a great photo? So we were talking at lunch the other day, we were having lunch, we were talking with the crew, and, we were talking about, all the things that go into a great photo. But I'm really curious about what photographers who watch the show, what do we think makes a great photo?
Yeah.
So if you could go in the chat, let us know what you think makes a great photo. We'd love to hear from you. While we're waiting, I wanted to kind of update, kind of like you guys of what we've been doing. So I actually just got back from a long road trip. I was driving 18 hours up to Wallops Island, Virginia, which is the start of the NASA. It's where NASA was kind of founded outside of DC there, and they had a rocket launch this weekend.
Yep.
So drove up, did that. Look here.
That's a nice drive.
Here, yeah, it's definitely a drive. Here's some shots from the shoot. So it was an Antares rocket. Here's some shots from the launch that we took. That's actually a shot from the day before, which was interesting because we drove all the way. We drove, 18 hours, went to sleep for a few hours just to wake up for sunrise because we were scouting our location for the next day.
Yeah.
So
that's what it takes.
And
that's
just trying to scout the location. I actually saw this cool radio. It was the cool satellite tower lit up by the soft light of the sun rising. So we took some shots there. But then these are really the shots that everybody loves. Is you got the detail of the rocket, the flame. This one was actually very hard because the rocket was not vertical for this launch while we were setting up. So we had to know a lot about our subject, a lot about where it's going to be positioned to get the right framings on the rocket. So here's just a couple shots. There's the wide shot. This is actually a composite of multiple frames, kind of mimicking a long exposure, but it's basically 20 frames done through statistical analysis. So you go into the Photoshop, you go to the statistics menu and do a maximum and a median values, and then mix those two together, and it kind of creates a long exposure. And you can actually see what's cool about that is you see how the rocket actually veers to the left as it takes off. There's actually a maneuver that this rocket takes where it takes it off the pad to the left. So that's something we have to know too when we're framing up our shots.
Yeah, exactly. You don't expect
because when
that
we're in those
initially.
engine shots, like if you go back to some of these and you don't know that it's going to be veering over, you can't get that perfect frame where you want it. So sometimes you have to play with it. So again, that's knowing your subject.
Exactly. That's what we were talking about too.
Here's one where, getting back, I actually went away from the pad in order to simplify my frame. So there was a lot of construction around the pad, a lot of garbage, a lot of dumpsters, that kind of stuff. So I wanted to get away from the pad for the wider shots to kind of isolate that debris and all the construction kind of stuff going on. This was actually the sunrise the day of the launch. You could see actually the reason we wanted this spot is because this spot did have the sun coming up behind the rocket. We knew that because of photo pills. So we looked at it on photo pills, found a spot that the sun would be rising right in the side of the rocket frame. So here's another one. This is one where I framed up something in front of it, kind of a foreground, kind of making it look like another pad to a pad, because behind that is just construction. Yeah. There's just dirt and garbage cans. There's literally like just garbage cans out there right now. So just trying to simplify that frame. That's from the spot that I was talking about. And just, that's pretty much it. That's kind of the shoot. Gorgeous. And, kind of give you kind of a behind the scenes of kind of what went on. So you look at that one spot that we were at. This is what's interesting, right? So that was the day before, right? When we're scouting, there's 3 of us out there scouting what spots we're going to want for the launch. And then this is the next day. So you can see which, if you notice,
that looks familiar to a lot of photographers,
car, right?
Yeah.
You notice what spot that's in because we got there way before everybody was there. In fact, if you go back, I think that's where the first shot is, us just there. Well, that's as the sun was coming up, but we were there hours before the sun came up to stake out the spots that we had found the day before.
That's so important, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
And we were talking about that at lunch too. Like no one sees the amount of work that goes into getting these shots. No one sees all that effort. They only see the results. They only see that final photograph.
And here's just like an example of like those shots that you were seeing. This is what our cameras are out there a day before. It's all triggered through sound. We cover them. That's more weatherproofing than for the rocket. The rocket, I haven't had any cameras damaged yet by a rocket. I've had them damaged from weather. Yeah. But that's why you seal them up. So there you go. So what have you been up to?
Besides this course, right? That was a pretty big task yesterday to get that done, but we really covered a lot of ground. It was basically like I do a Lightroom boot camp. It's typically about 16 hours. And I really try to condense all of that into something that's just the absolute simplest workflow possible. Fully automate it, take full control of what Adobe's and all the power that Adobe is giving us with the Creative Cloud.
Right.
So that's been pretty intense. And I literally 2 days before that, I got off a plane from Italy where I was shooting about 3 weeks with an organization called the iPhone Photography School. And they called me up and they said, let's do something that's never been done before. Let's basically shoot at the premier iPhone landscape master class type of video. And so they said, where do you want to go? What do you want to shoot? Like, that's the kind of client that everyone dreams of.
Right.
And I said, well,
So
pick the most beautiful place that you can
Yeah.
think of. And for me, the Alps, especially in Italy, the Dolomites, oh my God, it's amazing. So I was basically just kind of running around, grabbing these shots just with my phone, just getting on a plane basically with a backpack and just carry on luggage and just tramping around Italy, just shooting all day, sunrise, sunset.
So I think you had a video to show, right?
I do have a video. Yeah, we literally just finished a few days ago. So it's just some test footage, but I wanted to be able to maybe share something with you guys to show you. But
so this is from your drone.
This
correct?
I had a team of videographers that was basically following my every move. So yeah, drones are a lot easier to fly out in Europe than they are in the States.
Especially, and in the States, when you start getting out, as long as you're not in a national park, this is not going to fly in a national park. But if you get off the grid in some of the back areas, as long as you're not in a national park, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
but you're right.
In Europe, it's a little bit easier. There were a few other drones out there. Some of these are drone shots. Some of them are just they're out with gimbals. I mean, the team has been pretty credible. I'm climbing literally on cliff faces with hundreds of feet drop and right on the side of mountains, and these guys are just following me pretty much every step of the way. But yeah, it is a little bit easier to film out there. It's there's not as many restrictions, which is kind of nice. And being in a place like this is it's just a boundless amount of energy when you're just faced with that kind of beauty. It's just I can't wait to get out of bed in the morning. I can't wait to get up, capture images, just explore. Really, I feel like a kid when I'm in that environment. Hopefully people feel that way when whatever they're shooting. But it was just like that's the kind of experience that I dream of as a photographer. Just to be in a location like that and do what I do, and just be there. Just really be in the moment. And to do it all on a phone and not have to worry about half the stuff that goes into the packing and the lenses and the gear. And, which backpack, because everyone's got more than one backpack, all of that. It was really liberating. It was a good time. It was fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, and I definitely think with this new phone, as well as even the new phones, I don't want to just say the iPhone, but just a lot of the new phones out. The Samsung phone's excellent. All of them are really getting pretty good.
They're not just good. They're more than what most photographers need.
Yeah.
That's what we were kind of to bring it back into the conversation we were talking about earlier. A lot of the things that we do think that we need that goes into making a good image, pretty much any camera is gonna get us to that point. And being honestly just standing in front of a beautiful thing, it's definitely pretty helpful. But any device is going to work. Having the new iPhone 11 Pro, I will say, it was pretty cool. Like there's been some really nice advancements from the camera aspect of it.
Well,
having
awesome.
a third lens, having a 13 millimeter lens at just like a tap of your finger.
It is crazy. It is crazy.
And the night mode, it's been it's opened up a lot of doors that allowed us, to get shots that would have been possible even up to like last month.
Right.
So it's been fun. It's been a good time.
So I see a lot of great comments in here, a lot of stuff. If you have any others, we really want to hear from you right now.
Yeah.
I want to hear, what do you think makes a great photo? We're going to come back and then we're going to dive right in. All right. So we'll see you back here in just a few minutes. There goes the jib.
Is the tripod dead? Sure, a tripod works for basic shots, but who wants to be basic? You don't need basic, you need blockbuster. And that's a job for a platypod. The platypod is your go-anywhere, do-anything flat tripod base. Its compact design helps you discover unique angles that you could never reach with a typical tripod. So, whether you're bringing up baby, driving Miss Daisy, or with your beasts of the southern wild, You can capture big budget footage and stills for a fraction of the time and money. So go ahead, shoot the next Rocky or Birdman. Or on the waterfront, the Platypod is equipped to grip uneven surfaces and hang from just about anything. When tripods go low, the Platypod goes lower. Its flat base reaches the lowest possible angle, resulting in truly inventive shots that can't be replicated with traditional equipment. And if you feel like adding a dramatic overhead angle, the Platypod has you covered. Just strap it or screw it in, and you're ready to go within minutes. The Platypod is constructed from aircraft-grade aluminum and titanium. Yeah, the stuff Air Force One is made of. So it's durable enough to travel with you from Chinatown to Casablanca and everywhere in between. If you only take the tripod, the story ends. You wake up the next morning with nothing but basic footage. Or you could take the Platypod to a museum, or on an elevator, or strap it to a tree, or hanging on a bench at church, or put it on the ground and get incredible blockbuster footage. Who are we kidding? You should totally take the Platypod. The tripod is not dead, but it needs a sidekick. The Platypod.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by B&H Photo, the professional source since 1973.
Yep, we are back. All right, so we're jumping back into the topic. So topic is basically what makes a great photo. But before we get to that, we got a bunch of people joining us around the world. We got Val joining us from a dismal Buffalo, New York. Yes, my family's from down in Binghamton, so I can say there's a few weeks out of the year it's beautiful in that area.
I know.
And the rest
I went
of
to
the
school
year,
up in Ithaca. I feel you.
Yeah.
I really do.
Tammy saying hi from Tulsa. Deb from a smoke-filled California. We got Riverside Ronnie from California. We got Mike saying hello. We got Jock's Photo saying hello. Hola, or hey amigos. Carlos saying hello. Jerry saying hello. Let's see. We got Rose from Richmond, Virginia saying hi. Warren from Signal Hills, California. Kathy from Colorado. And we got Jocks again saying awesome sunset in Kauai. We got Wayne from Denver. Carl, good afternoon. We got all around the world. There's Cheeky Nando's in here. We got Stephanie from Quebec City, which, speaking of driving down from Virginia coming back to Florida, I saw a lot of Ontario and Quebec license plates.
Yeah.
I believe the season is starting.
Yes.
Yes. So
yes.
It's coming. It's
a month
coming.
Before everyone goes up there for the fall, and now
they're coming down. I followed them down.
Can't blame them.
Yep. So, yeah, here's some comments. So we were asking what makes a great photo to you. Jock's Photo was saying a great photo generates a wow from the viewer.
Yeah.
And I definitely think that's a big one, for people is having those wow moments. Well, I mean, you got some shots. So maybe you could share some shots from the iPhone that you guys took real quick.
So this one, this is a stitched pano that we did. This is in the Tre Cime in the Dolomiti. Mm-hmm. And some of these shots, it just kind of, it still boggles my mind that we can get shots like this on a phone, and it's just like running around feeling like a little kid. This is interesting.
That one looks like somebody's lit up there.
So This shot would not have been possible up until a month ago with the new phone. This is the new night mode. It's a stitched night mode pano with an off-camera flash with the new C1 Plus, which is the first off-camera flash possible with a mobile device, which just opens up like a whole nother world of lighting.
You can have a little pop there.
All this technology is kind of coming together for the first time. And I mean, come on, this would have been impossible to get any other way. And so we're always pushing limits. And that's kind of the fun part about it is every month there's a new way of approaching something. There's always a little bit of learning involved. And it's just a fun thing to be a part of and explore. This is another backlit shot. You're doing long exposures and trying to challenge the dynamic range a little bit and have a foreground element. And these are just fun to show because it's just like this shot in particular, maybe 5 minutes, the light was here. Just 5 minutes, that's it. Any earlier, everything would have been lit up. And as we were filming this, because we were filming how we got this whole shot and how we approached it, as we were filming it, we were running, my feet were soaked, the guys were running around trying to capture everything on the audio and B-roll, and the light just like that. And honestly, we couldn't even plan this. So these are the types of shots that, we're getting with a phone. Yeah. It was just us, and it doesn't matter what phone. I'm using the iPhone 11. That's really nice that the newer phones are all. You can see which. I guess maybe people in the audience will be able to tell which phone I'm using here.
What iPhone you're using there? Yeah.
Yeah. So that's some of the shots.
Like another comment from Hello from Odessa commented, impact. So that's a big one. Having that impact, that drawing, stopping power. Again, look at Michael says about the same thing. A good photo is one that makes you stop scrolling. So photo is like one of those things that's arresting. You immediately go. So then Cheeky Nando saying a great photo is one that makes you stop and look at it, hopefully feeling something about it, meaning it touches your emotions. So already those three comments are kind of around the same thing, that we all feel like it's about that stopping power, that arresting power, making you feel something. Okay, good.
Yep.
Scott Hinton, what makes a great photo for me? Envy. If I wish I had taken it. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Spoken like a true photographer right there.
Yes.
Like, can we appreciate a photo? Because half the time we're appreciating, the other half the time we're like, crap, I really wish I got that shot instead.
It's very funny because when that happens to me all the time because, especially shooting landscapes, this happens a lot because a lot of the times when we're going to shoot landscapes, we're shooting in areas that other people have usually shot before. Or like my main genre, where it's rocket photography, I might be traveling out there like with that. I had 40 other photographers with me. Well, you start going, how do you get that shot? Where'd he go? Or where'd she go? It's kind of like, so I get what he's saying with the, sometimes it's just, you got that, wow, why didn't I get that shot? Or how can I get that shot? Mike's commenting, it needs to grab you and make you feel. So again, so already I'm starting to see a pattern.
Yep.
Becky G, a photo that makes the viewers want to know more about its story. That's an interesting one, because I think that goes to not only stops you, arrests you, but there's more to that frame. It tells more of the story, and I think that this is something that's eroding or missing in photography sometimes.
That it tells more of the story, or that it allows you to use your imagination?
Both. Okay. Well, but I think sometimes more that the what we're putting in our frame, while it can be beautiful, a lot of times it may be devoid of a story.
Yeah.
It might just be capturing a moment, even though you're capturing a beautiful moment at the perfect time. There is no story to it. Yeah. There is no context to it. There's no, as Jay Maisel calls, gesture.
Yeah.
You can have the light and the color, but
light,
you
color,
need the
gesture.
gesture.
Yeah.
That's what, we talked about that. I was traveling with a friend who's he shoots great photos. We traveled up together. We had 18-hour conversation up, 18-hour conversation back, and
it's got to be a good friend.
And that was one that we talked about. Is what we said, when a rocket is sitting on the pad, it has little or no gesture. Yeah. But the minute that engine lights up and it comes alive, that's where all the gestures. So you'll see us spending all of our time focused on getting those shots where other people will be running around, spending time shooting the environment and shooting that stuff where a lot of times there's just no story. It's just a snapshot.
It's a form of the decisive moment.
Yeah.
And to bring it back to the point, I remember I was in the papers in the Boston Globe years ago, right? I think it was Mario Nomar, something like that hit a grand slam home run. And I just happened to get these seats right behind home base. And I was on the front cover of the Boston Globe for one reason. The photographer chose a decisive moment. And that wasn't when the ball hit the bat. It was everyone's face in the crowd. The baseball player was out of focus. And everyone's in the face in the crowd was like this. As we watched it sail out of the stadium. That was the moment. Sometimes you don't know, but that was the moment.
Yeah. No. Marion saying, the feeling you get looking at an image that makes a great photo. So again, feeling. Jerry saying, a photo that you can't turn away from. Again, capturing you. Dalton, light, gesture, color. I mean, I live by those words. It's like every time I take a picture, I have this voice in my head. And I could see Jay's voice in my head.
Light, gesture, color.
There's nothing there. What are you shooting?
He's onto it, though. I mean, that's so true.
So
the rest are details.
Bob, composition, lighting, exposure, a good eye, luck. That's an interesting one because there's a moment of there's luck in a lot of what we do.
There is.
Especially, I'll say, if you're a landscape photographer, luck's a big one.
Luck's a big one, and so is patience and perseverance.
Yeah, patience and perseverance, yes.
The more sunrises you're out there, the luckier you get. But certainly, I mean, luck is a big part of it.
And luck goes all the way around. But usually when you're in a more controlled environment, you can
make it luck.
You can put the chips in your favor.
Yes.
You can kind of stack the deck.
You certainly can.
But,
you certainly can.
Now you can stack the deck. I mean, as far as planning, I could get into that you could look at when your chances of weather being better, when your chances of humidity being better, when you're going to have a front coming through, so it's going to be an epic sunrise or sunset. So you can do stuff to kind of stack the deck. Veronica saying great light, sharp focus, a good story, nice composition. Sandy, composition, the sharp best light, sunrise, sunset. Steve Bauer saying light and the story make a great photo. I think again we're going around a lot of these subjects that I do believe we would all agree with as photographers. So is there any others up there? Oh yeah. So we got a lot of comments.
Oh
here. Yeah. So
you can't ask that question and not expect to get comments.
We're gonna stop. We got to stop there, or in a couple minutes. We'll read a couple more actually. But when we come back, I want to flip the question, because here's the thing. This is what we think makes a great photo.
Yes.
What we as photographers think makes a great photo. And I got a weird one here. I want to ask you, what do you think the general public thinks makes a great photo? And really think about this, because I've been struggling with this. I had a conversation for hours about this on the road. We had a conversation at lunch about this. The team, this is something that, what do you think the general public, non-photographers, who all have a phone in their pocket, who all have a camera in their pocket anymore, what do you think they think makes a great photo? Yeah. And we're going to read your comments when we get back. I want to hear everybody's comments of what they think. I think we're kind of all in the same playing field here. These comments are all, yes, photographers, yes, this is perfect. But I want to flip it now. Tell us in the comments what you think the general public thinks makes a great photo. We'll be right back after this break. And there goes the tip.
Hello everybody, my name is Ramtin Kazemi. I'm a landscape photographer from Canada, and I'm back again in Tampa. It's a beautiful day, and this time we have a very special class for you guys. Things like focus stacking, there's going to be focal length blending, there's going to be sky replacement, things that I do on almost all of my shots. We'll also do a live segment to show you the back of my LCD so that you can see how things are done in the camera So we have lots of new and exciting techniques to go over together. So I invite you to please come and join me on my latest class on kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Canon.
Make sure you don't miss any episodes of The Grid by subscribing to Apple's podcast app or iTunes. It's free, and we even have a special audio-only version too. So sign up today.
All right, well, we're back. We're discussing what makes a great photo. Right before the break, we were talking about, do you guys think, what do we think the general public thinks makes a great photo? Before we get there, we got a bunch of comments here, and I think this helps. I know this helps me in knowing that we're all on the same page here.
Yeah.
Well, we're all as photographers, we're on the same page. You know, I just, again, this light gesture color, this Jay Maisel voice is in my head all the time. It's ridiculous.
Same here.
Yeah.
Same here.
So, let's leave some comments here. So we got Lyle is saying anything that draws and retains your interest makes a good photo. But after that, the combinations are pretty endless. So I think basically saying like, hey, you can go about anywhere with it, right?
And I like that. Like he didn't, maybe intentionally, but he didn't offer any specifics, right? Someone mentioned sharpness, someone mentioned composition. We're mentioning light and gesture, but he's going right to that point, which is all of those are details. That's really what matters, right? We're talking about what actually makes it, but maybe it's just the final result is what's the effect of whatever makes it. And
yeah, because like
agree.
even if we want to go back to sharpness, we could say that like sometimes sharpness is not what you want, you know?
Of course, yeah.
So you have to watch that, you know, you're not always trying to achieve sharpness.
Yeah.
That sharpness might be, or balanced exposure. You might want to blow out the highlights. You might want to overexpose the shadows. You might want to underexpose the shadows. You might want to play with shadows. Like, so you might want to break these rules because you're creating a photo that you do want to arrest people with. You do want people to kind of go, oh, what is going on there? That's beautiful. I want to be there. Or like we talk about envy, man, I wish I was there. I wish I shot that.
Or can it transcend that? Can it, in spite of completely blown out, in spite of a lack of focus, in spite of a lack of sharpness, can it be such a good photo, light, color, composition, whatever it is, whatever that magic is, can it transcend all of that to still be a good photo? I would argue it can be. I'm on the board of ASMP on the New York chapter, and we just had our 75th anniversary. So we had this big gallery show recently. Some of the most iconic prints that everyone in the audience has seen before, absolutely, that I've seen before. But when I saw them large and I saw them printed really big, I'm up close, Some of them are not even that they're soft focus. They're straight up out of focus. Like, you know, technically speaking, they missed it. Some of them are not exposed properly, but there's something there. There's something iconic about those shots.
Oh yeah.
So if it can be, you know, in spite of all of those technical insufficiencies, there's something there. What is that something?
Well, and I think so that's when we get down to there is the rules. Like we really want to get it. So there's the rules in photography, right? Yeah. And we've got the rule of thirds.
Suggestions.
And yeah, well, and there's a reason there's suggestions,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
It's because in a two-dimensional plane, they become pleasing to the human eye.
Yeah.
That these are forms that in history we know are just, we as a society like them.
Yeah.
However, that's where we're starting to erode that.
Yep.
And starting to change that, and that could modify. So let's continue here. So Mark Arena is saying that X factor that makes me stop and look and wonder and want to know more. Again, that mystery of
That's
the photo.
Interesting,
yes. That thing that makes you stop. I think that's breathing for a second.
Okay, I was gonna say.
I can't explain it any better. So yeah, that like gas where you're like, whoa.
Yes.
Like that's amazing. Like when those photos come through, and the best is the best is when you shoot that photo, right?
Yes.
You shoot that photo and you're like, wow, how'd I do that?
But is that going to stop someone else?
Well, that's what you're looking for, right?
I saw this interview once. I before I was a photographer, I thought I was going to be a guitar player, which is such a cool place to be here. There's guitars there's probably more guitars here than there are cameras, which is so cool. But I saw this interview. Someone gave this really well-known guitar player, and they asked him what makes a good song. And he looked back and he kind of like leaned back and he said, "It's such an easy answer," and just starts tapping his feet. Anything that makes you want to tap your feet, that's it. That's what makes a good song. I don't know what the visual equivalent is to that is, but for me, that would be my answer is whatever the visual equivalent is to an image. The way when you hear a song, that's the defining characteristic of a good song. It doesn't make you, does it move you? Does it make you literally want to move your body? Oh, yeah. What's that visual equivalent? I don't know exactly what that is.
Well, I think it moves our eyes. It's
something, right?
It's not really like our eyes are moving, but you know,
move their body, great. But that's not how
just like it makes you kind of like just that pause, you know, and kind of wonder. Jeff saying, what makes a good photo? Something I enjoy looking at. Different. It's different for each person, which I would agree that everybody has their own view on it.
Sure.
I think when you get down to different for each person, you can say that's sometimes a great photo is when it makes everybody think a little differently.
Or does it even have to be something you enjoy?
Yeah.
I would argue if it's a photo that pisses you off, like straight up stresses you out, that angers you, there's a good argument for making that a good photo too.
There,
if the intent was there, if it moved you at all, one way or the other, it doesn't necessarily have to be something you enjoy.
Look at those photos that make me kind of
It doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad photo.
No, they're not. Yeah. A photo may be technically perfect, but if the viewer has no interest, then it's not a good photo to them. So yeah, I mean, it is that would be in the eye of the beholder. Right?
Yes.
Right. So, John, a good photo, one that makes people sound like they're looking at good fireworks.
There you go.
Yep, definitely though. Wow.
Yep, we've seen that a couple times now. Yeah.
So Jerry saying a photo that evokes an emotional reaction. Again, we're going around this emotional connection. I see down there Joanne saying the same thing, emotional connection. And then Kevin is saying overprocessed images and filters. Oh, okay. So I think we've switched now. Yes. All right. So this is, all right. So we said up to now, it's like, oh, this is what photographers think. The general public, what does the general public think? So Kevin lets out a sigh and he says, overprocessed images and filter the heck and back. So basically, yeah, I mean, there has been, you know, we can thank Instagram.
We can thank Instagram for a lot of things.
We can take some of those things that, I mean, there is the way when you can But basically what Instagram is trying to do is put a look over the photo that normalized the photo, that gave it what sometimes in processing we would do. The problem is anything that could be good used for good can also be used for evil.
Yes.
Right? And
anything that's worth doing is worth overdoing.
Yeah. So sometimes I think that's where we go. I don't know if the general public, I mean, I think we see that. And I think it definitely is overused. I think the general public might overuse them on their photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So Andrea saying the general public, just overall subject matter is popular. So Andrea.
Okay.
So
yes. Now we're talking about something.
So
here.
actually, my and I'm reading off of what I wrote is I would argue that we've been desensitized in what makes a great photo and just focus more on the subject as what makes a great photo. So that's where my mind is going lately, Andrea, is that the subject matter is becoming what makes the great photo. That we are losing the sense of what is a great photo. Now, I still think, and this is just my opinion, that if you were to put shot A or shot B of the Dolomites, one is awesome, composed, lit shot, and one's like in the middle of the day, that I think people, the general public, will pick the right photo. However,
if it's that obvious, yes.
However, they both will think independent of each other. It is a shot of the Dolomites Mountains. That's awesome. I've never been there. Doesn't matter what the shot looks like. The subject is awesome. Must be a great photo.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's a tough call. I mean, what stopped me right away when I read this comment is the word popular. That's the first time we've seen that, right?
Yeah.
That changes the dialogue a little bit between what makes a good photo. Because maybe it makes it popular, doesn't make it good. Right?
Well, yes, I agree. However, that's how we a lot of times measure things, right? And that's when we're going to the general public and we're saying we have to, well, a lot of times as photographers, we have to appeal to the general public. I mean, the general public, a lot of times are our clients, right? So especially if you're doing this for a living, I mean, you have to appeal to them. I mean, that's what they're getting into. So that's why this is an interesting one but I totally agree with you. What is popular versus what is great, that's where I think photographers see differently than the general public.
And there's a time element to this because what's popular now, I mean, okay, if you look at a wedding album from the 80s, let's talk about what's popular, right?
Well, yeah, stylistic, yeah.
Sure. But back then, if you had a white vignette versus a dark vignette,
it was good.
It was good, right? So it's a bit of a slippery pig. It's going to change all the time. That goalpost is going to move.
Yeah.
So if we're focusing on just on what's
HDR
popular,
came out,
there's an argument to be made. Let's focus on what's popular, but that's going to shift too. Maybe what's good is something that stands the test of time.
So
if there's such a thing.
Let's see. Bob is saying, the general public is moved by emotion. I can see that.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that. I think also photographers are moved by emotion. I think capturing an emotion in your shot will transcend. Yeah. I mean, that's where you got to find these commonalities between. So
I do agree with that, though. The emotion. Absolutely.
So I'm not sure who said this, but how many people have I seen absolutely thrilled over a terrible photo of their precious baby? Well, again, that speaks to the subject matter, that sometimes the subject matter, like if it is a shot of my daughter, it is the best shot in the world.
To you.
In fact,
to you.
Yes, it is. It is. And undeniably will be the best shot in the world no matter what you say to me.
Sure.
But that speaks to that subject matter thing, that sometimes we will let subject matter trump everything else, just dictate everything else. That is, well, the subject's cool, it must be cool. Gail saying anything with cute kitties, puppies, or babies.
There you go. Nailed it right there. That's it. We can end the show right there. Got it. Done.
Yeah, you want everybody to love your photos and tell you that they're the greatest photos in the world. Just shoot cats,
just
puppies,
put a cat
and
in there. You saw a cat in my video. We did that intentionally.
So, and look at Cheeky Dando, general public, a beautiful, colorful scene. So saturation, I can definitely attest to that. oversaturation is like a postcard. Yeah. I mean, a cute cat. Look at that. Same thing. Cute dog, a baby, all of the above.
All
so
of
if
it,
you
that's
have
it.
if you have a baby holding a cat and a dog in a colorful scene, that's like the ultimate
That's it.
photo.
Saturate the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Maybe make it HDR and just perfect. Put a filter on it too. Put it on Instagram with a filter and nailed it.
So Dalton is saying, what does the general public think? I think it depends on the day of the week it is. I can attest to that too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So we do need to take a break, but when we come back, I would love to hear more comments. I was starting to laugh because they're starting to get like funny here. So I'd love to hear what do you think? Any other input you have on the topic? We'd love to know what we think the general public thinks makes a great photo. We'll be right back here on the grid in just a couple minutes. And there's the jib moving. There.
Hi, I'm Larry Becker, and I've been a camera reviewer for years. I've also been a camera trainer, and I have more than a dozen classes over at Kelby One. And I couldn't be more excited about my latest class because it's about the brand new camera I just bought, the Canon 90D. This is an amazing camera, and it's packed with all kinds of power user features like 32 megapixel images and burst capture rate of an amazing 10 frames per second. And over on the video side, you can capture uncropped 4K video. You can even shoot full HD video at an amazing 120 frames per second. My new Kelby One class is for pros and beginners alike. It's all about helping people who have never shot anything but a smartphone or high-end pros. And I get everybody up to speed fast. Trust me, this is not a camera class like what you've seen online, where you feel like somebody's reading a manual to you. This is a class that I would teach when I just show my friends what to do with their new 90D. It's time for better pictures and video. It's time to check out my latest class exclusively on kelby1.com.
Hi there, Kelby One members. Corey Barker here once again with Master Effects Training, and this time around I've got another fun 3D project. And we're going to be getting a little bit more in-depth with 3D this time around. Not more advanced, just a little bit more in-depth. We're going to be creating 2D elements in Photoshop, converting them to 3D, and then bringing those elements into Dimension to create the final scene. Now, I know it sounds like it's complex. It is not. If anything, it is actually a lot of fun. So I hope you'll join me in checking out my newest projects here at kelby1.com.
This segment of The Grid is brought to you by Platypod, the world's most compact tripod base.
All right, well, we're back. And on the break, I was just reading a book that I think, if you want to know more about this topic, would be great to get. And that is Jay Mazel's Light Gesture Color book. This book, it changes your photography. I mean, just getting to see what Jay sees. And what's cool about it is it's a picture with a story, and to see what he can see, it's awesome. So yeah, definitely go check out that book if you're interested in this. Like, for a photographer, what really makes a great photo when you start, it doesn't matter what you're shooting, what your subject is, it translates.
That's it. Yep. I mean, it's tough to take something complicated and just simplify it. And like that title, that's exactly what it does. That's all what it boils down to.
I will say this though, the hardest one is going to be that middle one, gesture. I mean, you can wait around, you can get the light.
That's where the luck comes in.
Or you can bring the light. Yeah. Like the Pro Photo ad. And the color, well, do a lot too to manipulate colors even nowadays that we couldn't do before. That gesture, that annoys me.
You capture that and nothing else, you got something there.
All right, so we got some great comments in here. Want to hear from you guys if you got any other comments. So Carla's saying this is an interesting because again, this is something I think we all can attest to. Yep. You've probably seen it shooting out, and even in Europe and national parks. Much. But after shooting in our national parks, it seems like the general public only appreciates photos with themselves in it. They don't seem to appreciate the landscape themselves. Same with the selfie generation. They only appreciate pictures of themselves.
Yep.
Now, I definitely see that. Definitely agree. I think that really at the end of the day, there's might be another thing playing in here. And we've seen a lot of these places, especially you go to national parks.
Yeah,
they're overshot.
Yeah, we know what they look like,
right?
Now.
I mean, yeah, I can
we've
tell you where to put your tripod,
yeah.
and that's the picture. Like that's, you go over 5 pillars, you take 1 step over, you put your camera here, you point up this way at about this degrees, you use this millimeter.
That's it. Here's your settings.
Boom.
You train a monkey to do it.
Right. If you put yourself in that, that's a photo nobody else has.
Is it a photo anyone else wants?
No, but sometimes, sometimes I would even argue
you put
that
a cat in there. Okay.
You could say that, a lot of us out there, we're going to these places because we enjoy it, which is totally fine. It's totally fine to shoot photography or just enjoy photography, but we are collecting photos. We are collecting memories.
Yes.
When you put yourself in that photo, well, I'm collecting a memory, I'm collecting a photo, but it's a photo only to myself. So I don't know.
I'm not saying don't take it.
Yeah,
absolutely take it.
I mean, that's where I'm kind of
don't think I'm not getting a selfie at the end of the set.
Yeah.
But at the same time, is that going to go in my portfolio? Is that something I want to share?
No, but
we're
photographers.
Don't get it.
We're photographers.
Don't get it.
General public won't get that. Michael's saying is oversaturated, oversharpened pet photos. LOL.
Yep.
Definitely oversaturated. I mean, that's when you look at a lot of the settings. It's designed to oversaturate the image. In fact, usually on all social media platforms, there's that magic button, and all it's doing is boosting the saturation, uplifting the mid-tone contrast. It's doing stuff to kind of fake the oversaturated, sharp HDR look, right? Because that's what we like. Right?
We're in the golden age of pet photography now. We have animal eye autofocus. I mean, what else do we need?
That's it. I should tell you something. So Frank, if their kids are in it, it's a great photo, no matter how bad it is. And that's a hard one because I get it. I get that of why that is. However, I again think if you shot, this is when you get down to it's like, I think maybe we need to start doing more comparisons, right? And go like, here's a shot of your kid that you took.
Yeah.
Here's a shot of your kid that I took as a professional photographer. A, B.
Yeah.
I think when they see it, they will go, yeah, I get why yours is better. I can see it.
Yes. I think they'll notice it for sure.
Yes.
Are they going to value it as much? They'll notice it.
That's
absolutely. They'll notice it. Better lighting, whatever.
Yeah. It's definitely depressing. Becky G. General public sometimes thinks no matter what it is shot by their family or friends, it's a great photo. I do think of when we have a connection to the person, this goes to social. People with huge followings that post something, and it's just not a great photo, but they just love the person so much that they look past the fact that it's not a great photo.
Sure.
It's pervasive in even the photography community that there's photographers that are widely popular that, I know in the back alleys, other photographers going, hey, did you see that photo?
We're not going to mention any names. Yeah, of course.
No, that was not a great photo.
True.
So, and then there's my wife saying hi from Vegas. She is out in Vegas. So, hey, Christy Kuna.
Nice.
Can't wait for you to get home. She's getting home at the end of the week, so looking forward to that. And looking forward to shots of our family because we love shots of our family.
Just share all of them.
Michael is saying there's no such thing as the general public anymore. This is a good one. Everyone has a phone, therefore is a photographer.
Okay, Michael, there's an interesting comment there.
I mean,
everyone
you are
that has
right.
a phone is a photographer. Okay.
You don't agree with that? That
I
everybody's a
smell
photographer?
I smell a whole nother grid episode with that one right there. We can go down that rabbit hole for sure.
Yeah.
Does anyone who has a device that has a lens and a sensor on it, does that make them a photographer?
Yeah. Well,
That's a whole can of worms that we're opening right
a
there.
capture of photo memories, yes. I'm not sure
That makes them. They can be a
skilled-
camera operator.
Yeah, camera operator.
Sure.
So what does make a photographer? Oh, that's
That's what I'm saying.
Another day.
Yes, that's
Another
a
day.
whole different subject right there.
Marcy in Phoenix. I think the general public still likes the WoW. I definitely agree. I mean, WoW, if you can make WoW, it will transcend photographers and general public. Like
I think we've seen that word more than
Yep.
anything else, any other word.
Yeah, WoW.
Yeah.
Wow. Jeff May saying general public, same as before, subject. I definitely can attest to that. I shoot a subject that people like the subject, so therefore they like the photo. You know?
It helps. It certainly
does help.
helps.
And when I say people that follow that stuff, just like if you like dogs and you
Yeah.
follow dogs, and you see a shot of a dog, you're like, wow,
That's it,
beautiful
yeah.
photo. I mean, we have to do that a lot, even when we're judging contests. And speaking of judging, that's an interesting segue there. The Worldwide Photo Walk, the winner was announced last week. So you can actually head over to Scott's blog here, and you can go see. Last Friday, he announced all the winners. So he's got the finalists right here.
All cats.
I don't think there's a single cat in here. Let's look. No cats, no pets. There's a barbecue. And there's the grand prize winner.
There's not a cat on that. Yeah.
Yeah. So go check it out over at scottkelby.com and you can see some photos. He also did on Monday all the honorable mentions. So this Friday, I believe he's doing it's either the leader winner or the mobile winner. And then Monday, the mobile winner or the leader winner, one or the other. Can't remember. So you go check it out over at scottkelby.com. Let's see what else we got. Warren saying with photojournalism, you may have 9 out of 10 things wrong and it still wins a Pulitzer. Yes. What is
wrong?
that one thing though that usually wins?
Yeah. Gesture?
Definitely. I would say with photojournalism, it is gesture.
I mean, careful about, using the word wrong, to qualify something like that.
Well, maybe they could have been better.
Yeah.
But the one thing that was right was so right that it transcended everything else about the photo. Right.
Yeah.
And it's usually gesture. It's usually that somebody in the photo is doing something that just has us so mesmerized. It has us thinking. It has two people could look at the photo and go, I see this. And then the other person says, well, I see this.
Intrinsically ambiguous.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. The timing is everything. Decisive.
So let's see what else we got here. So Clay's saying, I want an image that makes me want to go experience what photographers have experienced. This mostly applies to travel photography.
Yes.
I definitely see that. I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a great reason to be a photographer or to be into photography, is because I want to see these places, and it's awesome that we can capture the beauty of these places even with our phones, right? You know,
absolutely.
it really doesn't really matter a lot of times the camera that we're using. It's more about where we are. It's more about the moment. It's more about the lighting.
It's all about this stuff.
the
Nothing
gesture.
about this says you need a Nikon or a Canon. Nothing
Yeah.
about it. All
Or
those things
Sony
that
or
really go
Fuji.
into all these images, whatever we define that as.
Yeah.
Notice how we didn't once mention, it's got to be a 16 or 35. It's got to be a full frame sensor. No, I agree. All these things we're talking
No,
about.
but it has to be a full frame sensor.
Well,
Just kidding.
not
Sean
a
is
single
saying
person's mentioned that, which is
anyone can take a
interesting.
picture, but not everyone can take a photograph. Yes, I mean this is snapshot, picture, whatever we want to call it. Like, there's a difference between that and a photograph.
Yeah.
Photograph something you make, where a picture or snapshot is just something you take.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I'm here, looks good, boom. And sometimes that could be a photograph, like street photography and stuff like. You see a moment, but usually not. Usually the photograph is more calculated.
I mean, that's a whole nother discussion too.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we draw that line? Where do we make that distinction, right? Between just a picture that you grabbed versus a photo that you made. You know it.
Yeah. Yeah. Chiki Nando saying everyone with a phone is as much a photographer as anyone with pen and paper is a book writer. Yeah. I mean, I could see that.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you could be a photographer. It's just a matter of are you doing that? Are you making a photo? Are you just taking a snapshot? Are you just taking a photo?
You can make a photo with literally anything.
Yes.
Anything.
And actually, a lot of times with these devices, it makes it easier for certain things because the device is making decisions computationally about the scene to make sure those things that we were talking about, like focus, sharpness, the exposure, that those things are all right. Now what's left? The gesture, the light.
That's it right there.
The color, the things in the photo. So sometimes these devices actually
That's what I was going to bring it all back to.
Yeah, they free you of that.
There's only so many things that you can focus on as a photographer. And if we're focused on the wrong things, we're focused on focus. If we're focused on exposure, we're focused on dynamic range, we're focused on all those things. We're not focusing on this. We're not focused on everything that just about everyone mentioned. We're not focused on the wow. And there's something about when you have this with you, right? You're not focused on anything but what's here, and does it give me that wow factor? That's it.
Yep.
That there's a clarity there. That
absolutely.
There's a really good argument for that.
Well, we've been talking about this book and these other things, especially this book, for a while. We need to give away this book, and we need to give away some prizes. So we've got the landscape photography book, and the Platypod Max here to give away. While we're waiting for those names, we do have a question from Mark Arena. Do you create the shots with any special app, or is it the regular iPhone camera app? So the shots that you showed, was that the iPhone camera app?
Every picture I take, I always take it first with the iPhone camera app.
Okay.
For that very reason we just mentioned, it simplifies everything to a point where I'm only focused on what really does matter in the picture. Does it look good? Does it give me the wow factor? Does it have the light? So I can actually try and capture the decisive moment, the gesture. I'm only focusing on those elements that will actually, make a photo that I'm happy with. So I don't have to worry about the rest. So I will use that native camera app. Having said that, after I take that shot, I will go into Lightroom Mobile, because then we can shoot raw files. We can't shoot raw files natively, right? But now it's getting to a point where the roles are reversed. And this is a whole nother conversation too, where raw used to be always the better option. Capture more dynamic range, the math behind it, and you're capturing data versus pixels, all of it. It's changing with the native camera app, because now we have HDR, now we have computational photography, now we have this night mode, now we have deep fusion, if you guys know what that is. We have all these things, and we have the HEIC format, which is replacing
Canon's moving to the HEIC format as well.
I was just going to mention, I haven't seen a single camera manufacturer do this yet.
Canon said they are moving.
25 years old, so I get why RAW used to be there, but now it almost transcends it, because you can blend multiple exposures, longer exposures, dynamic range.
It's just cool that you have these choices, right? And I think that's when you get down to it. I do the same thing that you do. I start with the iPhone camera app, because again, too, a lot of times I can hit the little camera button, it launches right then. I'm right in the app.
Yeah.
Now, if I find a photo and I go, well, might need a little bit more range in this area, and this would be better to shoot in RAW, I'll flip over to other apps.
That's what I'll do too.
You know
the
what?
HDR
I really
is
want depth effect without shooting a subject.
Yeah.
Right. So I have certain camera apps that will allow for good depth mapping without having a person as the subject. So having these apps are really doing that. And another thing I use my phone for a lot, especially now that I have all the way from ultra wide to semi telephoto or like mid telephoto, is I can do pre-visualization of shots.
Yeah.
So before I take out the DSLR, I'm actually scouting for the spots with my phone and moving around and going, if I got down low, I was at like 15 millimeters right here at this level, that'd be an awesome shot. Now let's unpack stuff.
there's no question, right? Even when I was in Photoshop world, Scott was talking about this. He said scouting right off the bat. Do yourself a favor and leave your camera at home. Leave your DSLR mirrorless camera at home when you're scouting, and just bring your phone. You can check any angle. There's even apps that let you check the field of view for different millimeter lenses.
Yeah,
it's
GPS
built in, so you know where you're standing, which direction you're pointing. Then you have Photo Pills. Pop that app open. You can see where the sun's going to be tomorrow, what direction the shadows are going to be.
The ability to see your field of view now.
Yeah, Photo Pills is, I can't recommend that
Photo Pills
app
is like my
enough.
one app for doing all that stuff.
Yes.
The scouting.
It's the one app for everything.
But that's
scouting.
Totally agree. But so we got some winners here. So so Shauna, you've won Jay's book. So contact Christina in the chat, and we'll get you Jay's book here. And I cannot recommend it enough. Speaking of another book we can't recommend enough, the landscape photography book. So if you're into landscape photography, Scott wrote this book. It's a great, especially if you're starting out, a good base primer, but it's a good for people who are kind of like wanting a good refresher course too in landscape photography.
That's the book I've just been reading.
That is Rick Cleland. You've won the landscape photography book. And then Stacy Yingling has won the Platypod Max. So again, just contact Christina in the chat, and she'll get you all set up with those prizes mailed out to you. Well, where can people go learn more about you?
Then go to my website, cliffordpickett.com. You'll see a bunch of my photos there, including a lot of the iPhone photos. I am devolving, I guess, as you would say, into just coming back to what all this stuff that really matters, and trying to simplify pretty much everything, which brings me back to the course that we filmed, I just filmed with you guys, is how do we simplify things so that we can focus just on what really matters. So cliffordpickett.com, you can reach out to me via email. I'm happy to field any questions. Honestly, I'm just honored to be on here because this is what I love to do. I just love to inspire people. I love to give back. I love to, just get them out and shooting and simplify things so they can enjoy what they love doing.
Well, thank you for being on the show. I think it was really, really interesting, and I love your guys' feedback. Thanks so much for answering our questions and playing along here. And we will be back next week. Next week, Scott's back with Moose. Moose is going to be here next week. So Scott and Moose. So don't miss that one. That should be a heated show. So we'll see. We'll make sure we get a heated topic for that one. Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week here on the grid. See you guys.
When you need a tripod that is compact, that is portable enough to take with you anywhere, one that is adaptable to any situation, that will prove versatile enough for any shoot, and is compatible with your other gear, giving you freedom to create your own perspective. Look no further. Platypod Ultra does it all. Visit platypod.com for more info.